Knights of the Old Republic is so much better than anyone remembered. Hello there everybody, my name's DJGT and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing very well. Today we're going to be talking about the greatest Star Wars experience in gaming. I'm sure that a considerable amount of the Star Wars community have learned about the escapades of the crew of the Ebon Hawk from various different pieces of media and YouTube instead of actually having played the game. For instance, I learned a very surface level amount of information and lore about KOTOR from its much later sequel, from which being Star Wars The Old Republic, the MMORPG, which goes over the aftermath of the events of the first and second games in the form of flashpoints and DLCs. Star Wars The Old Republic may not be the best way of having gotten the information about this though, as it does actively retcon a lot of the most compelling story points from the second game and some bits and pieces from the first game. I can't really speak a lot on the second game as I haven't played it yet, go figure. However, I am planning on doing so in the coming weeks, and after having fully completed the first game on stream with my mate. Now, if you haven't already done so, and you do like the video, please do consider subscribing, as it does help our community grow. Now, back to the video. The first Knights of the Old Republic was such a fun and interesting game that it compelled me to sit down and create this video, and ultimately go on to play its even higher rated sequel. A lot of information that I see being spouted about the lore of Knights of the Old Republic in a lot of Star Wars comment sections and just generally from people in the community is so incorrect and conflated that it's time to set the record straight from a personal point of view. There are of course tons and tons of different materials around the era of KOTOR, like the Tales of the Jedi omnibuses and the Knights of the Republic comics, that cover the characters and places that are involved in the various wars of the era. The era of the Knights of the Old Republic is the richest portion of lore in all of Star Wars, with so much build-up and payoff being put into the world building. Put that in the same perspectives as the Clone Wars era, where it's essentially nothing between the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and it's just kind of bizarre shadow work that just culminates in the events of Attack of the Clones. There's basically no games or media in between the films, aside from ones that actively take place during and after the movies, and then the events beforehand are just kind of brushed aside. It's the same with any events leading up to the Phantom Menace. There is near nothing that has any kind of impact as to the outcome of the movie. It's just kind of crappy anthological media that has no ultimate payoff. Like, the Clone Wars era as a whole has a lot of interesting stuff. Like, you've got the comics, you've got the little TV shows, the normal animated one, and then the CGI animated one. But generally, outside of those, there's very little stuff. Like, yeah, you've got a cohesive story within the normal CGI one, but with the animated one, you got nothing. The CGI one in Old Legends, so the one where KOTOR and Star Wars The Old Republic is set, it's non-existent. It doesn't actually play into the story at all. None of those comics or the CGI are canon in the Legends part, if that makes sense. Even Star Wars The Old Republic, which at some point had the highest amount of voice-acted spoken lines in any video game up to that point, and with more still being added to the game through their DLCs, at the time of the release of Knights of the Fallen Empire, there was over 340 hours of dialogue within the game. That's over 2 weeks of just pure dialogue. There are some fantastic stories within Star Wars The Old Republic. That much cannot be taken away from it, especially when they're drawing from the storyline of Knights of the Old Republic, but the gameplay is just unanimously known to be completely shocking. Knights of the Old Republic has a brilliant combat system that, once gotten used to, will feel like second nature, and going from that back down to the entry-level combat system of Star Wars The Old Republic will make you feel sick. Further, there's so many more moral quandaries and interesting things to do in Knights of the Old Republic that doesn't necessarily railroad you into what your assigned class is, which does very much happen in Star Wars The Old Republic, with your class-specific quests that have to be completed in order to gain access to the DLC and some of the more advanced companions. If you weren't already aware, I have a Discord that is linked in the description, which is dedicated to the subscribers of this community. Join to be able to talk more about the topics like this. How did you guys think about this video? Was it good? Was it bad? Did you like the game if you did eventually go and play it? Please let me know down in the comments below. Thank you everybody for watching. I've been DJGT. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. And may the Force be with you. Always.